we're nearing the conclusion of yet another remarkable summit. Congratulations, all of you. And we are very, very privileged to have representatives from 3 UN agencies and the co-host of the AI for Good Summit on stage. And I'm going to just say a central theme throughout both the AI for Good Summit and WSIS has been collaboration. And over the last 3 days, we've seen outstanding examples of collaboration amid the UN system entities. And the UN Activities Report, released by the ITU on Wednesday, highlighted impressive initiatives from more than 45 agencies. And we've also learned about the close partnership between UNESCO and ITU in facilitating coordination and coherence within the UN system on AI. So, Tomas, I'm going to start with you. What are your plans to further strengthen this collaborative effort amid UN agencies as well as other stakeholders?
So thank you very much, Elgin. Great to be here with you as we are coming to a close of this very, very intense but very productive week. And I think when we talk about partnerships, we need to see, and this week has showed us, what we're building upon. And I think anyone who walked these halls here, and even outside the building, when you saw there are a lot of people trying to get in, you saw how many people want to partner, how many people in these different meeting rooms, in the halls, sit down and discuss how they will do and what they will do together. And we have a lot to build on. So, of course, in this summit, we already launched quite a few things that we'll be building upon. So we launched an Open Wallet Forum with the Linux Foundation and others as well, where we'll be bringing digital IDs and digital wallets, interoperable wallets to everyone. We launched a global initiative on AI and disaster management, again, which will harness AI in this very important climate adaptation challenge. And that builds up on all other similar global initiatives. So last year's launched global initiative on AI and health together with WHO and WIPO as well. So we also discussed here in these halls collaboration with the World Standards Corporation together with IEC and ISO, how we'll work together and bring others along or to coordinate AI standards, and also specific track on watermarking and content authenticity. We of course have a broader platforms to build in. This again forum, we launched another annual report of UN projects and initiatives on AI with more than 400 projects highlighted, showcasing how UN is already working on AI. And that shows how we use AI for school connectivity mapping. We use AI for flood predictions. We use AI for water quality as well predictions. So we're already doing that, and this coordination with the UN system is super important. And that brings me to a coordination, and I'm sure Gabriela will also agree with me. She's my partner in crime, and this week, we felt like always like twins. And most of this, I think every time I was on the stage, except for one, I was always with Gabriela, because indeed that also shows how we as UN are working together. More than 40 agencies, and it's a really pleasure together with UNESCO to co-lead that coordination, already coordinating to make sure that we are there together. We've been asked by our colleagues to come back now and say how we can do it even stronger. Now exactly this we're working on. We learned a lot this week again. We brought those UN agencies here. We actually asked them to mix with the member states as well. We had a great mixer there. Thank you very much for Swiss Confederation for facilitating that as well. And there's a lot to build on. So stay tuned. We'll be thinking a little bit more few announcements maybe still today, but also stay tuned for this great collaboration going forward. So thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Thomas. Let's chat with Gabriela Ramos. I notice it is actually quite difficult to tell the two of you apart, but I'm going to continue. Thank you for joining us on the stage. UNESCO's ethical recommendations on AI represent a pioneering effort to ensure that ethics are central to AI development. And you've actively participated in Governance Day and engaged with countries across the development spectrum. So what are your key takeaways from these conversations? And what are your thoughts on enhancing even more collaboration across the system?
Well, first and foremost, what do I take away from here? The fantastic leadership of ITU, Doreen, Thomas, amazing, and I think they deserve a big applause because they are amazing. I feel that when we say that to understand the technologies, to govern the technologies, the conversation on governance really went very solid in these days. You bring the private sector, you bring the academics, you bring the stakeholders, you bring the international institutions, you did it. So leading by example. Thank you so much. I'm very encouraged by the conversations because it seems that we are converging in terms of what needs to be done in terms of governing, not only about the question of regulating or just controlling the downside risks, but how do you create incentives? And this is the main message that I take from this fantastic gathering. How do we create incentives in the private, public, everywhere to ensure that we invest more in the good AI and that we address the problems that Tomas was mentioning, because at the end we want AI to solve our problems. And then in terms of partnerships, remember, the Summit of the Future is coming, the Global Digital Compact. We spoke about with our members because our members are happy that we are cooperating. We delivered this impressive document, and with Tomas co-chairing, and of course with the support UNDP, many of the institutions that are there, to show that the UN system, and you can be proud that the UN system is really taking this seriously and is making very concrete contributions in all the areas of work that we have. Therefore, that white paper and the interagency working group was signaled, and this is something that I take with me very seriously, as one of the platforms that can be used to advance the Summit of the Future conclusions, and I hope that our members will take that with them. And then there's nothing that like partnerships. And in our global forum on the ethics of AI, because we have 194 countries implementing the recommendation on the ethics of AI, so we have the global forum. We launched the observatory on the ethics of AI with Alan Turing and with the ITU. We have a readiness assessment, and suddenly we realized that, of course, the UNDP, this fantastic development institution, has also the readiness assessment. And we were asked by our countries, why are you doing readiness assessment, both of you? So we're joining forces, and we are collaborating to see how we can go together in delivering these assessments, the landscape, the AI landscape of the UNDP and the readiness assessment. And then, of course, we cannot do it without the ITU, because the ITU will also help us with the deep dives in terms of the sectoral assessment that they're doing. So I feel that we not only come, I would say, I'm not being arrogant, but I will say a little bit more wise, not only because of the panels, not only because of these fantastic exchanges that we have, but also because we got this sense of purpose confirmed that we can steer the development of these technologies in a positive manner. So we are really looking forward. I actually considering with Tomas and with Doreen and with the teams, with Pretam, how do we also build the linkages between the Global Forum on the Ethics of Artificial Intelligence, where all of the RAMs are presented, and the AI for Good and wishes going forward. So thank you so much. Watch this space.
Oh, thank you so much, Gabriela. Let's go on to Rob Opp from the UNDP next. Thank you also for joining us. As the UNDP, with its core mission of development and assistance to countries, what did you find most resonant about AI capacity building during the summit? And with ITU and UNESCO on stage, both heavily focused on AI, as we've heard from Tomas and Gabriela, what are your plans for future collaboration?
Well, what I found most resonant about capacity building is that there needs to be a lot more of it. And that's also, as the UN system, what we're committed to doing. At the moment, if you look across sub-Saharan Africa, only 3.3% of journal articles, journal citations on AI are actually coming from that part of the continent. And an AU report released on the African continent said that only 36 out of 54 African countries actually have data privacy and protection policies in place. So if you don't have some of the fundamentals, and you don't have the capacity to put the fundamentals in place, how are we going to ensure that the digital divide doesn't actually get wider because of the introduction of AI, where part of the world is able to zoom ahead and there are others lagging behind? And that's, as a UN system, what we're committed to doing, because we stand for leaving no one behind. It is a core part of our charter. It is a core part of the Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals that we all subscribe to. And so that resonated with me. It's a reminder that we need to act with urgency and with our collaboration. And that brings me to the collaboration point, which is that an important part of capacity building is understanding where you are. And as Gabriela mentioned, we're looking at the readiness of digital ecosystems to embrace AI. And we're going to work together as UNESCO and UNDP to really be able to support countries in that way, to look at that as a diagnostic and then identify priorities, where we're going to work together. And with ITU, we have ongoing capacity building initiatives already, many different initiatives when it comes to thinking through where we're headed around cybersecurity and many other things that contribute to the AI and the effective use of AI for good. So I'm really encouraged, and I come away knowing that we have major challenges in front of us, but feeling very comforted that we have such a strong spirit of collaboration as we move forward with great partners.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. And now we're going to hear from His Excellency, Mr. Jürg Lauber. Hello. Thank you for being very patient. Geneva already has a thriving AI ecosystem. It's only going to expand, isn't it? So as we move into this intense phase of discussions on the Summit of the Future, the Global Digital Compact and the WSIS Plus 20 review, based on what you've heard over the past week, where do you see Geneva fitting into the future AI landscape?
Thank you so much. I'm stoked. I'm really super excited about what I saw this week and about the future role that Geneva will play. So I maybe have three messages. The first one is a big thank you, Tomas, Gabriela, Robert, to you, your colleagues, your agencies. This was a fantastic event. I mean, last year was already really great. This year was next level. I've never seen so many people, such an energy around the center. The fact that you're all here on a Friday afternoon, late afternoon, tells you something. Really, really well done. AI for Good is the flagship event within the UN system and beyond. Second, I firmly believe that we can make AI for good prevail over AI for bad if we continue to be smart. And I like what you said. I'd like to think we've become wiser, all of us collectively, individually. Also, thanks to events like this week, I think we understand better the substance, and we also understand better individually in the different agencies, in the missions, in the countries, what AI means as a challenge, but also as an opportunity, and how to deal with that. And that leads me to the third point. The structures are here, and that's a message maybe I want to give to our colleagues in New York. The Summit for the Future, the Global Digital Compact is a great opportunity. These are great opportunities to reaffirm some of the basics, the values we need to protect and promote in the face of technological advance. But then how to go about this, what it means in specific areas. These structures, these organizations are there, and many of them are in Geneva. That's why I'm so stoked about how this can happen in Geneva. So structures are here, don't invent new things, but, and this brings me to the last point, partnerships, cooperation. I think there's still room for improvement. More discussions amongst ourselves, learning from each other, looking at the specificities, more collaboration, more partnerships. That's, I think, the challenge or the task we have for the next year. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I think we're sadly out of time for this, but I can safely say how much encouragement your collaboration has generated, and I hope Switzerland and Geneva continue to be part of making core UN values like peace, security, and human rights, and we want all of that to be part of the future of AI. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.